This is going to be affordable corporate suites with Debbie Mackay. This will be number 2, and I'm going to put this up tonight because I got some of the other videos deleted. I didn't mean to delete them. Confused. I put a bunch up. It's Christmas, by the way, and I need to get off of here anyway. I've done all I can do, and anyway, I'm talking about I have an autoimmune disorder and I'm allergic to chemicals, and it can shut my body down, for goodness sakes. It's a hell in itself, and especially with who I am. And I've put this all up. If you've my dad didn't marry Wallace Simpson, a double did, and the Illuminati took him down. His brother here, Elizabeth's dad, who's illegal, they're planning my kidnapping in 39. Well, they kidnapped me. I was born in 39. They kidnapped me in 41. I want to get back to this, though. It's been deliberately that I've been run from place to place, and it's a horror story. If I had, at one time I put on a backpack and all this, and I'm not going way back to what happened to me here. I could go up to the mountain, and I was up there in the national forest, and I camped and starved and froze, and people were told not to help me. And that was over years. Couldn't get water at time, food, nothing. And anyway, when I could, I'd come down and try to get a job and a place to stay, and I couldn't. I'd go back up there. I was run back up. I've tried to leave, and I'm run back here to Roanoke. So this is what I wanted to tell here. I usually show a Hustler magazine because they endorsed me in a campaign. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, Gwinnett County, by a program shooter, and I was writing about mind control and how it's used to program people to kill or create illnesses or cure them, cancer. It's Tesla files that were stolen in 1930. So this whole thing about your hospitals is a joke in research. They've always had cures. Well, since 30 or before. Anyway, they've used my illness to run me and torture me and make my life a living hell, if you call it a lie. They have committed crimes. They've gone into a conspiracy with law enforcement because they think they won't be prosecuted. And anyway, now, back to this woman. Okay, back to Channel 7 woman that was up on the mountain. She had worked for Channel 7. And she brought me, I guess that's the first time I stayed. No, I had stayed at their places before, years before. Yeah, when I first came to Roanoke for a few times over the years. And they always used too much chemicals. I'm not talking about it would kill anybody. They did it to me specifically because they were told to. And he's gotten wealthy, this guy that owns these affordable corporate. And anyway, so this woman from Channel 7 that had worked for them that was up on the mountain, and that was before the second time when the state trooper brought me down a few years later to affordable corporate over on Starkey Road. So she takes me, this woman does, to affordable home office where their home office is, and they have a efficiency there, and they're pretty nice. They kept them clean. I didn't object to keeping it clean. It's the lies that have been told unless you put them under oath, and it's infuriating. If someone were doing your child like this or your mother, you would be outraged. And getting off on it is what they've done. And they've still got their jobs and their pensions and their retirement and all this stuff because the law doesn't count. So I wanted to get back to that. I was taken over there by the woman that had worked for Channel 7, and she knew about formaldehyde and all this that is toxic to me. I tend to not want to even put it up right now. But I stayed there and rented for, I guess, a week. That's all the money I had. But the first thing that happened, this was a friend of hers that was manager. First thing that happened on Monday morning, I had a letter put on my door that I had to move all the furniture in there, and I had to move it up against the wall because they were going to come in and shampoo the carpets, and they were going to clean and all this. I had just gotten there. You should do that before a person moves in, and especially cleaning carpets. So this has been deliberately. I'm just telling you some background on it. And this is probably going to go out in a minute. So it was so ludicrous and ridiculous that they're going to come in and soak me, and I've got to move the furniture so they can use the carpet, shampoo the carpet and all this. It's, my God. So anyway, I end up moving because I was only paid for about a week anyway, and I got some money, and I guess I went back up to the mountain. Anyway, I saw this woman that had worked for Channel 7 that took me there several times up at the park, National Park, where I met the state trooper. It brought me down to Affordable on Starkey when fuel was poured on my tent in the middle of the night. Remember, I'm trying to get away from the mess by going up there. So I really can't tell it. I've tried to. Now then, I'm going to get back to this letter. And you cannot in any way envision what has been done to me, running me, and this chemical's being used on me. And they either have to stop using it or I have to get away from it. So they have me on the run. My health going downhill and life's hell. So I came to Affordable near here in Salem, and Debbie Mackay was the manager. What she said here, the woman should be put up there, and I have to say this again. I get my rides, someone helps me pay part of my rides, and I can only get a few a month. For food, I can go out a couple of times, and I can go to doctors if I have to as many times, but anyway, it's limited, very limited. I can't just pick up the phone and go. I can't afford the cabs or rides. And, okay, the thing is, I'm going to fast forward to, I don't know if it was a year ago, year and a half. It's since I've been here, though, so I had this woman that was driving the cab, sent for me, and I didn't know her name. It was after about the second time she showed up that I thought, my God, that's Debbie Mackay, where I had lived over there. What's she doing driving a cab? So I asked her, and she said no, she was just driving it for that couple of times that she was still manager over there at this place where they did this to me. And she's getting off on it. And she's the one I wrote about mind control murders and patterns. And she told me I'd paid the rent always on time. I've got letters to support that, too, from the other affordables that I stayed at and other places. Anyway, the problem was she came out and showed me the photo of her daughter that was in her gown. She was graduating, May the 4th of 2014. And I paid my rent, and she said, Debbie Mackay said to me, she said, when she showed me the picture of her daughter, she said, I'm not going to let happen to my daughter what happened to Alexis Murphy. I didn't know Alexis Murphy. That's a murder that was done in the pattern. She's from Livingston, Virginia. So I didn't kill anybody. I've just told this. And you would think parents would want to know it. And by the way, you don't solve this by you solve it by telling about mind control. You don't say help save the next girl or the next boy or the next kid or the next grown-up like Scott Peterson. You tell about mind control and get it brought before the public, and that's the odd part about it all. Why is everybody so quiet and they don't mention it? Okay, because some of them can be proven. Okay, and I'm afraid people are going to be hearing me outside and complain, and God knows I don't need that. Anyway, what they've done, if you ever see the truth and get behind closed doors, is shocking what people will do to you when the law doesn't work for me and the law has something on them. It can be code violations. It's shut down here, believe me. Roanoke, Virginia, Salem, they've shut it down as far as codes and sticking to them at motels, hotels, or you name it. So anyway, let me get back, and I'm going to read this. And this woman actually showed up in the cab I was helping pay for my own ride. And one of the places that's supposed to help you was helping me. And she had to do it just for the hell of it. It's mockery. So I wonder what's happened to her daughter. Maybe she's gotten away in her mother for what? What they get out of this? Fun? Anyway, she showed me the picture of her daughter and said she had on the computer there, her desk, that her daughter wasn't going to end up like Murphy, Alexis Murphy. I didn't do anything to Alexis Murphy. Anyway, she told me I was going to have to leave. She put this on the door, and I'm going to read it for you. And unless you get behind closed doors, and God, I hope they have, I hope they've got it off a cable, some of it or something, and can show people the truth. They did horrible things to me at all of the affordable suites. At one of them I went to a couple of years ago. It's been about, 2 years ago, 3 maybe. American affordable. I think they're connected, actually. You wouldn't believe what happened there. In the church that did, that's the only one that's ever brought me any food that I can think of. But they brought me a little food, and they had to walk over the day after I moved in and paid the rent. 2 women brought a couple of boxes of food up from the church. They had to step over the cables and shampooing carpet, and it wasn't even, well, you can't describe it. They had to step over it. They were afraid they were going to fall. So people have seen what's happened. You don't let me move in somewhere today and tomorrow they start either renovating, remodeling, or doing the carpet and putting hoses out that you have to step over. So it's a horror story. Now, where did I get to? That was American corporate. And by the way, 2 cab drivers said after I left there, they saw them, and I've had this told to me before by other people where I lived, that they saw them taking stuff. When they talk about stuff, I'm talking about chemicals out and disposing of them after I left. So I'm just going to show you this. It's infuriating. The woman can do it. Showed a picture of her daughter in her prom dress and tell me I can't stay there. And she's made up lies, absolute lies. They used stuff. They had this one woman that was from here, and she had come back from Atlanta, whatever that's got to do with it. She would put stuff on the walls, bleach, every kind of chemical on the floor. She'd get on her knees and do it. Now, you would think she's doing me a favor. Hell no. You don't do this in every, like that. You don't put these kind of chemicals that they put in there. And I can't even tell the rest of what was done. And it was done as a joke. I was soaked by one person that came around. He was a guy, and he was told to come out there and spray the sidewalk or something. He ended up spraying my window, my air conditioning, and when I walked out to try to ask him why, he sprayed me. So this is a joke. Here is her letter, and it's full of lies. She should be prosecuted. All of them should. And they've gone on living their life. She tells me that I'm going to have to leave. She'll accept my rent for another week. I have to leave. She puts this on my door because she's not going to have happen to her daughter what happened to Alexis Murphy. So God bless them. I wish I'd never even, I don't know. Here's what she said, and this is lies. They put all kind of chemicals in there that they should have been locked up. This is not just your Windex or Clorox or stuff. Okay, she's told me that here that she's not going to accept my rent. And I asked her, I said, what if I come up there to pay you and stand there with the rent? She said, I'll have you arrested for trespassing. And believe me, they would have done it. The cops would. But this is infuriating. It's total lies that she's put up. She didn't put an eviction notice up because I paid the rent. She's the one that should be locked up. But she was considered a good, upstanding citizen in the Roanoke area. I'm sure all these people would be. Dear Miss Childers, as per our conversation, you stated that the cleaning supplies were detrimental to your health and could cause life-threatening situation because you have an autoimmune deficiency. Well, she's very cleverly worded it. I tell people that I'm allergic to chemicals and ask if they can, well, they've always used the cleaning. They didn't listen to me. Over at Affordable, where the state trooper brought me, they were told to do it. They would come in if I walked out the door to go to the store or to go out for a walk. They would come in and soak my linen with chemicals that would kill me. I mean, I would just die. Didn't have money to wash my linen, and I would have to. So it was a bloody nightmare what they did. This has been ongoing. But anyway, she says, this is a lie what she's telling here. But she's worded it so nicely to cover her ass. We are unable to comply with your request to change the supplies we use. Well, they didn't use these on other people, I assure you. Forego the monthly exterminating and not clean the carpet and upholstery when scheduled. Well, that's a lie. They had just cleaned it when I moved in. And so all of it's a lie. While sympathetic to your situation, we are under strict legal regulations from government, OSHA. She should be locked up. Listen to her saying that the law and regulations, when she's broken every one in the book, they all have, and do not intend to change any corporate policies. Well, maybe God will step in if I'm lucky, or someone will, and put you all where you belong. And this is my words to her and the rest of them. So saying, it would be in everyone's best interest for you to find alternate housing that would be better suited for your needs. Well, that's what I've done. And the people, law enforcement that are orchestrating this, just come there and, or it's prearranged, and they do the same thing you're doing, Debbie Mackay. Lie. Soak me with chemicals. You should be locked up for assault and battery and every other crime in the book. Okay. I should leave and find alternate housing. Well, what about wheelchair people? Should they? Because you just don't care that you get the gist. So they're discriminating for one thing, but they're being told, so that's a conspiracy, and they're doing it, so that's attempted murder. It is. While if you stuck peanut butter to somebody that's allergic and forced them to eat it, that would sure be considered murder. Well, what they've done to me is, sympathetic. I mean, it's infuriating. What on God's green earth? They got to be sick. And she's talking about OSHA, and they're not going to change corporate policies. What's that, to kill me? So saying it would be everyone's best interest for you to find alternate housing, this is the joke. That's better suited to your needs. You will be allowed to pay for one more week, which will make your checkout date Thursday the 22nd of 2014 by 11 a.m. Thank you, Debbie Mackay. When I put this up,